All right, welcome to Live Coding Rust. I'm going to mix things up a little bit today because I'm going to try some new tools, and I'm going to use a tool called Code Catalyst, which lets me code inside of a web browser. So it's a competing technology to GitHub Codespaces, and I'm also going to use both Anthropic and Code Whisper, and I'm going to kind of mix things up a little bit just to really try things out here. First up, what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen and get cooking. So we see here that I've got the AWS console, all this stuff cooking. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go to this tool called Code Catalyst. So Code Catalyst, there we go, Amazon Code Catalyst. And what's kind of interesting about Code Catalyst is that it does give you the ability to do some cool stuff. And if I look here, there we go to Amazon Code Catalyst. It's going to do all kinds of login for me. And then I need to look at where I've got an environment set up. So, okay, here we go, resume Cloud9. So I want to go to Cloud9 here. Wait a second. Oh, I guess I don't have a development environment. So let's go ahead and create one. That'll be kind of fun. So I'm going to do AWS Cloud9 in the browser. Let's go ahead and do this. And I'm not going to clone anything for now because I'm just going to toy around with stuff. And I also want to edit the dev environment here so we get a big machine. So we'll do X large, and then I'll go ahead and say creates. And then for repo, we can just make an empty one and do that. An error occurred. So let's refresh here. So I don't know why that failed, but let's just say create an empty environment. And we'll pick this. Hopefully that works. Oh, an error occurred when trying to create it and cloning the repository to it. Interesting. So this, well, what I can do is maybe make a new space here. So if I go to spaces here, let's try to create a new space and see if that fixes it. So we'll just say new space. And then for region, new space, well, we won't use that word. We'll do October 2 new space. And then for region, we'll do US West Oregon. And then it's going to ask me to enter my account number to generate token. So that's kind of annoying, but I'll do it. Let's do that. All right, verify space. Okay, so hopefully that got it. Oh, I guess you can only do maybe one at a time here. Maybe that's part of the issue. So let's go to this environment here. And this one is Visual Studio Code. But let's go back one more time here. And if this is having an issue, I'll just have to abandon this approach. There we go. Resume. Yeah, that's what I thought. Resume in Cloud9. There we go. Okay, so it may have been that, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's in beta. Maybe that's the issue. So this thing is going to log in here. And then the next thing to be aware of is that I have two different ways to use Claude. That will be one. So I could use this as a coding assistant, and then I also can use Code Whisper as well. So this will be kind of fun to try out some of the differences here. between the two tools. So it's still cranking here. Now, let's go to the documentation for CodeWhisperer as well. So we'll say CodeWhisperer. Okay. So that's AWS toolkit. But we want to working with it. But it's only, here we go, user guide. That's what we care about. Now, if we go back to this environment here, it's still cranking. There we go. So if we take a look at this environment here, let's take a look at some of the things that we've got available. We have AWS here. And then in terms of this, we should get CodeWhisperer. So it does look like it's giving us some suggestions. But what I want to do is augment this with Claude, because we know that I can use it inside of Bedrock, in fact. So that'll be a kind of a fun one to play around with. Is I'm going to make a new project around, let's see, let's try like a Marco Polo function. That'll be a good one. So we'll say, go here, we'll go into live stream. I'm going to say cargo new Marco Polo. And I'm going to CD into it. CD into Marco Polo. There we go. And if we look inside, we have a basic, example here. So obviously CodeWhisperer can give us suggestions, but we also can use Bedrock to get us suggestions. So how would we do this? Well, if I go to my text prompt here, what I could do is go to Anthropic, and I could go to Claude 2. And then inside of Claude 2, I could say, maybe some help. I would say like the prompt would be, I am building a Rust demo for live coding, and I would like you to help me build out a script that has the following characteristics. And let's see, it would be A, it is a Marco Polo function. B, it takes the string Marco and returns back a binary response. Polo, if the name is equal to Marco, or no, if it is any other name. All right. And let's go ahead and run it and see what I get. Here's a Rust function that implements the Marco Polo logic for you. And let's take a look at this. So we see that it's giving me function Marco Polo name string, if name is equal to Marco Polo, otherwise no. So this is kind of a standalone function. And then this does appear to be a valid response. So this is not bad. I mean, this is pretty cool, actually. And so if we go here and we take this inside, we can actually paste this into this particular script, crank it right there, and let's go ahead and run it. So we'll just type in cargo run and see what happens. Polo, no. So basically, you can see here that Claude is actually very good at generating Rust code, and I was able to do it inside of Amazon Bedrock. So I think what we can really identify here is that you can completely develop Rust code by using Amazon Bedrock as essentially like a chat assistant, and you also can do web-based programming by combining it with Code Whisper. So now if we want to use Code Whisper as well, we could actually say, here, the code does the following. And let's just see if it can, if it's smart enough to know. Yeah. So we can actually now have Code Whisper generates the actual documentation for us. So I think this is a very interesting way to program Rust code, is that on AWS in particular, you don't need any third-party tools at all. In fact, you've got all of the components to develop code by using Code Catalyst plus Amazon Bedrock. So I think this is good enough, I think, for a live coding Rust demo today. And I'll probably keep going on this later in a future stream.